Nutrimedical report. By the way, when we're talking about arthritis, a couple of things that I can throw in there as well. It turns out fatty acids are very important. I had Barry Sears on about 3 or 4 years ago, a specialist in fatty acids, and basically our fatty acid diet in North America is 50 times out of balance in terms of pro-inflammatory. So when you add Omega Supreme, and then especially Omega Supreme Krill, when you add Omega Cod Liver Liquid, these dramatically reduce joint inflammation, don't they? So that's really interesting. We're also working, by the way, on a new development where we're going to be upgrading the delivery system for our cell defense, and that's in the works, so we'll give you the full announcement when it's all operational. So Ryan, talk about fatty acids, Omega Supreme Krill, and Omega Cod Liver Liquid. A lot of people don't think that fatty acids are important for joint inflammation. They're absolutely wrong. Part of the problem is we have pro-inflammatory fatty acids. People have omega-6, like peanut oil, and many of the fatty acids in their diet. Partially hydrogenated vegetable oil is also pro-inflammatory. Definitely don't take polyunsaturated fats and heat or cook with them. What would you say? Yeah. Gee, it's funny. I can hear music cutting in. I hope that must have been a bumper somehow bumping in. But you're still there, right?
The Omega Supreme fatty acids of EPA and DHA, these are all really ultra clean formulations that ensure that you can take them and get the beneficial effects without getting that negative aspect of some of these things that have been oxidized or rancidified, or, as I said, heavy metals, pesticides, things like that you certainly don't want to have in your body.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And a lot of people don't understand it. I had an interesting consult here, and I get dozens of consults literally per day sometimes, depending on how busy it is. And they're not exactly straightforward. Some of them are really complicated. I had one gentleman here, and I'll just try to see if I can pull up and give you it's almost humorous how crazy it is. I mean, I don't think people have any idea what I deal with, because besides my radio show and other shows I do as a guest, exactly how nuts it is in terms of what people are getting. For example, let's see if I can pull this up here. Question, see if it's this gentleman here. Because sometimes they just put question, then they list all their supplements they're taking. No, it's not that one. Information, that's it probably. No, it's not that one. But this gentleman was on like 10 different drugs for his diabetes and his other issues. Like, are you kidding me? Surely you're kidding me, right? And when I looked at this, I was wondering, why would someone take so many darn things to try to counteract their problem? Here it is. The doctor gave him pravastatin sodium, Eliquis, Zetia, losartan, carvedilol, and spironolactone. Now, I'll just go down through some of these, can knock them off. First off, no human being should ever take a serotonin, what's called an HMG-CoA reductase inhibitor. It causes interference with CoQ10, it can demyelinate your brain, and it can actually precipitate cardiac arrhythmias. So stop the pravastatin immediately and take Omega Cod Liver Liquid to lower your cholesterol. And by the way, if you want to measure your cholesterol, don't use NMR spectroscopy, which most of the lazy doctors do. Do a what's called lipid electrophoresis, which you have to search with your lab to get it properly done, but it can be done. Eliquis, this drug is dangerous. Not quite as dangerous as Xarelto, but they're dangerous. And if you want to thin your blood, take nattokinase. Real simple. You don't even need blood tests. Zetia is a drug that also increases fat cell number. This causes dramatic increase in inflammation, and it can make you gain weight like crazy. So do not take Zetia. If you have to take a diabetic drug, take glucophage. Again, losartan. Now remember, losartan is what's called an ACE receptor blocker. It's not too bad, but the problem is losartan, you got to monitor. You want to split it, a split dosage. You don't just take once, because it's not a long-acting 24-hour drug. You can take it split. So I'm not so bad about ACE inhibitors, but to be honest with you, take enough aged garlic like Allison Med and our Cardiovasc, especially those two. You don't need losartan because you've got enough ACE blockade yourself by taking the aged garlic in those both products. Carvedilol, no. If you want to take beta blockers, it makes males get 4 things: fat, bald, dumb, and impotent. And spironolactone, this will raise your potassium. And again, remember, I didn't see here the person's taking a diuretic. If you want a natural diuretic, we have natural diuretics like Power C Plus and Vein-Away. You do not need to take spironolactone. It's not a great blood pressure pill anyway. And all the regular diuretics that you take, like hydrochlorothiazide, increases your blood sugar dramatically and thins your blood to make it more viscous, which increases unstable plaque and the chances of an embolus. So, those gives you a quick idea. Now, what do you do for these various conditions? First, you lower cholesterol, omega cod liver liquid. Can you add something to that, Ryan? Are you there, Ryan? I think we may have lost.
Yeah. As the omega cod liver is, this goes back to what we were just talking about with regards to krill and omega supreme.
Right.
One, super clean, ultra clean material so that you're getting the benefits and not the detrimental effects that could occur with a low quality product or something, as you say, that's been,
right,
kind of pasteurized or cooked off in a manner that's going to be, negligible in its benefit for the body, and in some cases be, detrimental. But when it comes to the cod liver, it's a remarkable thing. It's been used for many, many generations, and this is a great tasting orange-flavored formulation that's so easy to use with, like, juice and so forth, or a shake if you're taking that. Mix it in and get adequate amounts of your essential fatty acids for kids or adults.
Right. The next, we talked about nattokinase for thinning the blood. We talked about lowering blood pressure. You start off with, number one, what is blood pressure? And if you ask doctors what blood pressure is, they'll hem and haw, give you all kinds of what we call Guytonian responses, which are physiology texts they learned back like 25, 30, 40 years ago. And it just is only a tiny portion of the whole cause of hypertension. Because you have to understand, then I like to ask the question, because the way to teach, I find people, just like the ancient Greek, is to ask questions. Even if you don't have the answers, if you ask really good questions, you're on the pathway to find an answer. So if you actually look at the non-Newtonian fluid dynamics, and I'm writing an article and a textbook on this that will be published this year, circulation is your heart starts what's called a primary peristaltic wave. That peristaltic wave hits the blood vessels, and if they have right release of nitric oxide and their mitochondria in their medial area or their vessels are working, you get a peristaltic contraction just like a snake eating a mouse, and it pushes the blood through. So you want to start off with things like supernox. You want cardiovasc. You want things to increase the tetrahydrobiopterin, which makes your blood vessels break nitric oxide, which is bio-LVR, superfolate, power-methyl B12, and samethyl. If you've got decreased methylation, you can check the back of your tongue with Berkeley test strips you get from Switzerland. You just touch the back of your tongue, and if it turns pink, it means you're making nitric oxide. It's that simple. So you do not chase blood pressure by just thinking, if I just lower the blood pressure, I fixed it. No, what you're doing is lowering the numbers, but you're not necessarily improving perfusion, which is what really our goal is. Next thing, beta blockers. You want to calm the nervous system down, brain, mag, and calm mind. And, of course, we also have things to decrease the autonomic overactivity with things like our mood elevator, which is our Posonol. But brain, mag, and calm mind, to me, are important. It's also a component of our cardiovascular, which is will lower the autonomic overactivity, which causes increased, we call driving pressure of the heart contracting too hard. But beta blockers, no. Beta blockers are going to make you, as I said, those 4 things if you're male, and at least 3 things if you're female. It's not going to help you. Now, you need to get your pressure down, but getting your pressure down means you also have to make sure you preserve what we call perfusion. Now I hear the bumper. So we're going back to break. We will be back in just a minute with Ryan for his last segment. And if you have questions, we're going to have open lines at the bottom of the hour, 800-259-5791. And we will be back in just a minute. So we covered a lot of ground today. Pick out a couple top nutraceuticals you think we haven't discussed in the last few weeks, and let's expand on them, because I think people don't understand that if you start to what I call take the integrated functional medicine life, which is taking super high concentration of bioconverted, super bioavailable molecules, it transforms your life. You read from the right books and the right chapters of your DNA, you detoxify, you help your stem cells rebuild you, because literally most people don't realize, and I like to use metaphors like this, but no one's older than a 7-year-old. In fact, I was going to write a book on anti-aging. That would be the title. No one's older than a 7-year-old. People say, Dr. Deagle, you're crazy. How come they let you on day pass? Because you're constantly rebuilding your body. Every night you go to sleep at night, you release melatonin. You also have patient nuclei in the base of your brain controlled by the pineal gland and the various innervations. And those patient nuclei actually send biophotonic signals to tell your DNA how to turn on the genes for all your organs. So you have a liver that remains a liver, and your kidneys still are kidneys. That's why if you take them out, and if you're not supplying the nutrients that when you go to sleep and proper get sleep induction like our melatonin TR, and you're not having the proper mineralization and the proper stem cell support, you can't rebuild yourself every night when you go to sleep, because you cannot heal except when you're sleeping. When people say, well, I get along with 4 hours a night sleep, I say, well, how fast are you going to fall apart? Because literally in 4 to 5 days, you were going to be certifiably insane. So, but your body gets insane over a period of months and years because you don't rebuild it. And most people don't realize that if you rebuild your body really well and have a good maintenance program, just like taking care of a good 1960s car that's really cool, if you have a great maintenance program, it looks the same as when it came off the lot. Well, your body should look the same, but it often doesn't. So which nutrients would you pull out to keep people looking good months and years in the future?
Yeah, well, I think a critical one that people should consider is Living Probiotic and Living Probiotic Ultra, because as we've talked about the gut, very easy to get an imbalance going on with the bacteria in the intestinal tract due to the consumption of sugar, alcohol. As you talked about, sodas, they have a lot of chemicals in them. Diet sodas in particular can really cause a lot of destruction and damage going on to the gut ecology that then, really triggers the problem for long term. It doesn't just happen day 1 or day 10, but it's a constant chronic exposure to all these substances that really throws us off. And so Living Probiotic or Living Probiotic Ultra is a really powerful way to restore beneficial bacteria rebalance to the gut, and that is just critical for long-term healthy living. Another thing,
that's absolutely true. Yeah, go ahead.
A product like GastroHeal. And GastroHeal is critical because we've got so many people that are stuck on acid-inhibiting products. They take them because they feel better. It makes their stomach feel better. They feel like it's helping them, when in fact that's really it's literally proverbial, like you're taking a stick of black tape and putting it over a dashboard warning light that says, change your oil or check your engine. Those symptoms are warning signs telling you that there's something dramatically wrong. And GastroHeal is really neat formulation. It's a chewable form of a specific combination of zinc and carnosine. And in working together, those two substances really help to rebuild the way that the gut is functioning. That includes the stomach itself. It's very beneficial at helping to relegate and remove H. pylori, but also ulceration healings and other inflammatory processes and damages to the gut lining can be really soothed and healed. And that's the key to the word there is really helping to restore that tissue versus just covering up the dysfunction of digestion difficulties that a lot of products people are taking. And you can take GastroHeal on top of those other products, and then the idea is that over the coming week or so, or 2 weeks, you would remove them, those acid-inhibiting drugs and stuff like that, and see how your body's responding. And then ideally, you get rid of those, because the average American will end up spending 20 years on an acid-inhibiting drug. 20 years. And it's not even the problem. That's the irony of it. It does eradicate some of their symptoms, but it's really, truly not the problem for the vast majority of people. They don't overproduce the acid. They don't digest well. They're dysfunctional. And so it just happens to soothe symptoms. But unfortunately, it's leading them down a road where they then now digest their food. They set themselves up for what is commonly known as SIBO, or small intestinal bowel overgrowth, which then is just going to set them up for triggering lots of inflammation.
Exactly. Now, by the way, the gut is the seat of your health. If your bowel is all messed up, your health is going to go down the toilet. In fact, I would say dysbiosis is even now they're finding the underlying abnormality in both things like obesity and diabetes, but also in the opposite, where you get anorexia nervosa and bulimorexia. There's often a dysbiosis present. We also know that dysbiotic bacteria can actually generate and deconjugate toxins that re-release toxins that your liver's already conjugated and re-release them to cause cancer. So if you're not taking the right probiotics, you're going to get cancer. I mean, it's one of the many things we tell about cancer prevention. Malignant block, ellagic acid, full vitamin K2, high-dose power C to keep the body alkaline. But probiotics are really, really important. And it's not just gut cancer it's going to prevent. This helps prevent cancer in every organ of your body. Interesting, hey?
Yeah, it's really...
Yeah, kind of fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, you're kidding. You mean my gut determines whether or not I'm going to get breast cancer or brain cancer or bowel cancer? Yes. A lot of people are surprised at that. They say, well, how do you know that? I said, well, there's tons of research. I mean, you can even go back to historical and we call cross-sectional studies that have been done. And what you'll find is, in fact, all these cross-sectional studies have found out that people that eat a Mediterranean diet and have probiotics like, the Bulgaris and other types of probiotic lactobacillus, they have 1/4 of the incidence of cancer and have lower rates of Alzheimer's disease and heart disease dramatically. It's not just the so-called French effect isn't just drinking lots of red wine. It's the probiotic bacteria that they have in their diet. For example, our living probiotic is a Roselle 6 strain from the Pasteur Institute in Ferris. Our living probiotic Ultra is the most powerful probiotic on the planet. You can even take it before to go to Haiti and you won't even pick up dysentery, which is pretty darn significant. People say, well, how do you have chronic problems like chronic inflammatory or irritable bowel syndrome and then eventually develop a polyposis which can turn into cancer? It's chronic inflammation. It's chronic dysbiosis. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens because there's a chronic inflammatory process from abnormal bacteria and other parasites growing in there. Amazing, isn't it?
That sure is.
Yeah. So that's what I would say would be my answer to that. Anything else you want to add?
I think that a lot of people, need to keep in mind something like the Immunomax or Nutrimune formulations, because again, circling back on the gut, we've got to make sure that we've got adequate amounts of bioactive immunoglobulins in our bodies, and that's something that breaks down over time. When we have a lot of illness, a lot of inflammation, what we're doing is we're using up and wearing out our ability to create enough immunoglobulins to guard, if you will, the border, just like we've talked about in politics for decades is properly guarding borders. Well, many people don't understand that it's not just the probiotics, but the immunoglobulins are also a critical component that our bodies are trying to produce. But oftentimes, over a period of lengthy inflammation or illness, we end up only producing the immunoglobulins just enough to basically hold on, and we're not getting out ahead of the curve. And so when you use something like Immunomax or Nutrimune formulation, what you're able to do is give the body a real breather and be able to neutralize things that are bacterial, viral, environmental challenges, or even food allergens before they're triggering the immune system to react, which is just huge.
Yeah, thanks. And we are back now taking your calls, 800-259-5791, 800-259-5791. I think the important thing to understand here is that if you listen to the program, you'll get a basic understanding of many different conditions you can help improve your health. If you're a physician, you can learn that there are things you can add to your current program, which can, number one, reduce the use of drugs, improve the quality of your patients, reduce the liability risk of causing drug-induced side effects, and improve patient outcomes without danger, and have a lot of conditions that cannot be treated with drugs or other therapies. You can augment exercise and other treatments like hyperbaric oxygen and so on, but you'll get better outcomes. Doesn't matter if you're an ENT doctor, a orthopedic surgeon, whatever. For example, hey, that's another doctor I can pull out right now. ENT, we get a lot of people that recently got this California P H1N1 flu. They got a chronic inflammation afterward. The first thing I'd recommend to do is start taking Silver 100 vertical nasal spray, 4 sprays every 4 hours for their nose. Start taking Allicin Med orally, 1 capsule 3 times a day. Start taking Nutriodine and NutriDefense, 1 to 2 capsules 3 times a day, and they're going to start opening up their sinuses. To reduce the inflammation in their sinuses, they should probably be taking Inflamex, 4 to 5 capsules twice a day, and Cell Detox Glutathione. Cell Detox Glutathione, 1 to 2 tablets twice a day to 3 times a day, and that'll reduce the free radicals in their sinus cavity. The antipathogenics combined with the silver nasal spray, and to augment that, I would recommend also getting a Sinupulse Elite. Put the Sinu Air powder, so it's osmolar, it's not too many particles or too little, in the solution, and use either distilled water or pure water system water, which is deionized and pathogen-free. and then add to that 15 to 30 drops of Nutrimedical in the chamber of 800 mils, and the irrigate with 200 mils per sinus side 4 times a day. If you have chronic sinus problems, chronic allergic rhinitis, enlarged turbinates with obstructive apnea, this is a major treatment that over time is going to allow you to heal. So you have to understand we have many things that can reduce the need for surgery, like turbinectomies or anterior antrostomies, eustachian tube emplacement, for example, for children. Many times you're not just chasing it with an antibiotic, which will get the secondary bacteria, but it doesn't reduce the inflammation, and you don't want to be using nasal steroids like Pulmicort for lungs or budesonide, and you certainly don't want to be using fluorinated steroids, which will cause damage to the membranes of your nose. So this is important for people to understand that we have ways of approaching illness that can make you significantly healthier and without the danger of getting side effects. So what I want people to understand is we provide consultation of help to any doctors anywhere in the world. We provide an answer, by the way, to anybody's email or phone call. I'll return your calls even if you're not a regular customer. You get access to the wellness conditions if you have become a customer, which means you just need to buy one product. And you can get access, but you have to request that wellness password in order to get it. But I'm available for people to just make a quick call now. If we start inundating me with tons of records and so on, I'm going to request that we convert it to a consult. But if you simply ask, how do I deal with my chronic obstructive lung disease or my hypertension or my glaucoma or whatever, I'm going to provide you a protocol right away that's boom, boom, boom. It takes me a few minutes to provide you that because I've been doing this so long, I know what I'm doing. And I can give you benchmarks that if you're not making progress, then we need to convert to a consult or try a second round in 2 or 4 weeks to bump up the protocol to more intensity to see if we can get things moving forward. Whether it's your blood pressure, your intraocular pressure, your vision, your bowel problem, your irritable bowel syndrome, your joint pain, whatever it is. And I can recommend standard and advanced conventional investigations, advanced blood tests, and other approaches that will start to make you move toward a wellness situation. So there's really no need for you to think that you can't make progress or you have to go through an extensive consult. All you have to do is make a phone call, 888-212-8871, or drop an email to us to contact us. My email is Nutrimedical@drbilldeagle.com is the email that you'll see on the Nutrimedical website. And just simply drop us a consult request and then say, here's my problems, give me a couple of lines or whatever. If it's really, really extensive and you try to start sending over records, I'm going to say, look, this requires a phone consult. I have to convert this to time to cover my time costs. But other than that, it's not going to be break the bank, and it's going to allow you to have information whether you're trying to fight cancer, osteopenia, chronic obstructive lung problems, hypertension, peripheral neuropathy. I had a gentleman this morning called, and he wanted to thank me for speaking out against all the Patriot issues, but he also wanted to have me help his friend who's diabetic. They made a mistake on his insulin, and they accelerated his progression of his peripheral neuropathy. And, of course, peripheral neuropathy can be so painful you may commit suicide because of it. 1 in 20 people with diabetes over 10 years will develop a painful peripheral neuropathy. Can be, I call, so severe that it can induce suicide, and there's no need for that to happen. So I think people should understand that that's a big problem. The people, there you go. So let's have a look here. So one of the things I would like to recommend that people don't, give up and think, well, he can't help me, I can't make progress here. Yes, you can. By the way, there's a few new features that I put up over the weekend. We've had this functionality for a while, but we're now setting up our radio archives, both the Nutrimedical and Clay and Iron. They're going to reside on Nutrimedical, and we're going backwards, over the last few weeks, but it will also hopefully get months and then maybe even years. The archives will include the radio topics, and by the way, they're all searchable, so if you put a topic in the top of the search bar, you can actually find the radio show that actually discusses that topic. And I have 150 some subtopics, so you can search by that topic and you can actually find all the shows where that topic's discussed. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. It's going to take a lot of work on our hands, probably occur over the next 6 months to a year, but we're going to try to go back as far as we can. The current topics, of course, if you look at the shows, you can go to Radio Archives, you can search by year, you can search by topics. For example, if you go right underneath the Listen Live buttons, you'll see I've revised those a lot to improve them, including our new live stream TV channel. Also have our sub-channel for Nutrimedical Wellness directly linked there. We got everything from women's health, men's health, children's health, heart, lung disease, sports and athletics, Codex Alimentarius, avian flu, post-traumatic brain injury. So any show where I discuss that, I'm actually going back through all the old shows and cross-indexing them. So you'll actually be able to put in a topic, and if you do the search engine, it'll actually pull up what show it is, and that archive will be there for you right here in our CNI Nutrimedical server. So that's going to help you a lot to be able to find issues going back. And we have the current ones. It's going to take us a lot of work to get it all put together for you to make it available so you have the information. The other thing is we, of course, have our live stream TV channel, and that's really cool. You can go down also see Nutrimedical Formulas and Protocols. If you hit that button right below our YouTube channel on there, it actually takes you to our new live stream platform, so you can actually see the videos that discuss everything from products to protocols to whatever they're up on the live stream channel, and that's all available for you, and it's totally free. There's no password needed for you. You can obtain that right away, so it's pretty amazing. For example, the live stream channel for the event, what's called Nutrimedical.com protocols, that's all available there right there. So you can actually directly connect to that event. Let's see now. Let me look at this particular event link here. There we go. Okay. So that means we have right now 5 events so far listed, and there'll be more, including their hosts we bring on shows with them. Many different topics. We have Nutrimedical protocols, news items, videos, conferences. It'll all be there. Geopolitical analysis, astrophysics, Earth changes, climate change, near space objects, biosecurity, public health, and preparedness, and of course, ClayandIron.com Christian World News Analysis channel event is also available. All those videos are free, including our YouTube channel. And we're working on lots of new projects here. Our Christian World News Network is going to be really cool. We'll be able to see all our videos talking about Christian topics with Jonathan Gray, even things that'll be off the show where we'll talk about promos of his latest DVD series. Biosecurity, we have talks, for example, with Ann Morrison and other experts that'll occur, with discussions, and even if we have a conference, and I'm planning on having some online conferences, so a lot of people say, are you coming to Pennsylvania, are you coming to Hawaii? It's really hard to come to a particular location when you're as busy as I am, doing consulting, writing, doing research, etc. But we can have online conferences, and we can set up for a specific date, and now with our new live stream, we can say, hey, we're going to do a video, we'll talk about the topics on the show, but then we'll expand on it, on those particular topics on a video conference, and we can have people on multiple sites. So whether it's preparedness, biosecurity, or biblical issues, those are all going to be available. So that's pretty cool. Let's talk about some of the other nutraceuticals we have here as well, and wellness conditions. I want to talk about a few new functional things that are available now that are brand new developments in terms of what we're providing for you. I've fixed the buttons. If you want to listen to the show, it's easy to go directly to listen live on hitting the button for the MP3s and the archives and the podcasts. There's the new Deagle Network TV, which is our live stream. It's just, I've had it for 7 years, but I've gone to the new platform and downloaded all the important videos over to their subcategory or events. Our YouTube channel, we're transferring a lot of our videos over to YouTube. They're generated over there as well. We provide the program clock, so if you're trying to get a radio station locally to pick it up, we show you the program clock to help your station. We also have a link directly to the smart phone apps. Right below, it's called Radio Archives, and this is really a very unique feature that nobody else I know in broadcasting has done. I designed this myself with Java and Java Beans years ago, and we're so busy I didn't get it all completed. I had a hiatus there. But we are going to reactivate a lot of these things, so that you'll be able to go back in and say, I want to look at the firing line shows. Boom, they'll all come right up, and you'll be able to actually just listen to those, and which is cool. It means that you're going to be able to search by topic. We also have, of course, going through our associates, and I want to mention them because we, of course, at the top have our high-quality supplements. We have carrot bars. We have the carrot bar business team step-by-step, which is a link to how to get started in carrot bars. We have the 10% off code for Nutrimed for pure water systems. We have a link directly to our other website called clayandiron.com, which has basically all the news on the nutritional wellness and radiologicals over at clayandiron.com. So you want to go to Clay and Iron if you want to see the news. I have a lot of important videos, articles, research, and daily news are all over at clayandiron.com. Then below that we have the MicroPulse with Dr. Bob Dennis from NASA, which is the Schumann Resonance Generator Vibra Slim. Shipping costs include a 3-year warranty, $12.99 in the U.S. They have them also in warehouses around the world, so we have a very minimal cost. Less CMF if you want to get pollution protection, radiation detection, UV detection. And we have also our Donate Old Smartphones. There's a direct link to donate your old smartphones, your iPads, etc., laptops, Game Boys, etc., and that helps the GCN shows here. Summit to Sea. This is mild hyperbarics, and of course they have leasing companies, so you don't have to necessarily purchase these Shallow Dive and other ones. I usually recommend you get a size up larger than the person you're trying to have in there. I had a gentleman last week who was going to get the smaller Shallow Dive 28. I said, you want to get one at 42, because if you want to get in it, you're not going to get in a 28 inch. And it was, in terms of a lease, it's, a matter of a few dollars difference. And in, I think 57 months, they own it. Dave and Jean Mitchell, if you're trying to get a home in California, or if you want to know about preparing or building a secure site out in a rural area, whether it's in America or worldwide, you want to contact Dave and Jean. PrepareWise Foods, we have, of course, our lowest content, highest quality, greatest range of foods in smaller packaging in Mylar bags, so you don't have to open up a whole number 10 can in our PrepareWise Foods. Lumen Photon, I am adding another 4 different sizes this week to our Lumen Photon array. These are amazing devices. I get up every morning, put my Lumen pad on my eyes and my head and my sinuses for at least a half an hour every morning. Professor McCanney's site, and he's been busy doing some projects now, so he's going to get back in touch with me. If you want to find out about his show, he does a radio show every Thursday evening. That's available. Ann Morrison, our scientist, one of our most popular hours, she's twiland.info. There's a direct link. And right now it's under donation. It's going to soon have a small charge to get full access to all of her information. Most of her files each week are like over 100 pages, and she does an amazing amount of work. So I strongly recommend if you haven't, and if our gentleman Jim out in New York is actually working to convert it so that she'll have a small fee to charge to get access. Joel Skousen's World Affairs Brief, and Joel will be back on the program regularly. He's one of the most level-headed people in the news analysis, and every Friday I'll often do kind of a review of Joel's articles or pull up parts of them. Joel will be back, and we try to get him on at least roughly once a month, especially in this election cycle. Turtle Tough Shelters, and we have, of course, the most portable, highest resilience, best cost. They'll take 150-mile-an-hour winds. Turtle Tough Shelters, they also have a special code. If you use the code 3215, you're going to save 5% additionally. We have the Ready Store, which has an amazing array of emergency foods, emergency medical equipment, prepper training media, etc. And, of course, the Jonathan Gray's site, which is his ebooks, Ancient Archaeology, Biblical Studies, and he does a lot of videos we do. We're going to be posting up on our live stream channel as well as our show we do every Wednesday, second Wednesday, that is. The latest is his 4 DVD set, and you get an additional 5 ebooks and another DVD if you buy that set. So that's amazing. And also we'll often have links over to Clay and Iron. So besides this site, beforeus.com, you can go to Clay and Iron and you'll see his latest special up there as well, which helps supports us. We also have special links. If you think there's something important that we should be linking, send your request to me and I'll look and see if it's worthwhile. We have, we call additional links for various different special topics. You'll see on the right-hand side of the page product specials. Oftentimes, for example, or whether it's our QRMA machines or specific supplements or specials. We have, of course, a Dr. U book available. It is $27.85. It's an amazing book. Took many months of work to actually put it together. We have specials on Silver 100 all the time, usually somewhere around 50% off a regular price. We've been running a lot of specials on this. It's very important in this day and age. And, of course, NutriDefense, which I designed, it blocks viruses and bacteria. It's the most powerful antioxidant in the world, the anhydrous catechin. The next most powerful is astaxanthin and our Omega Supreme Krill. So many illnesses are actually we call free radical illnesses, and they induce inflammatory molecules called cytokines. Just like diabetes is basically a free radical disease that causes inflammatory molecules to be generated. So that's the latest theory that I'm proposing, and I'm going to be preparing that presentation this year so doctors can validate it if I'm correct. Many of the illnesses are basically free radical illnesses that cause inflammatory molecules and cause secondary changes like insulin resistance, tissue degeneration, and disruption of stem cell regeneration of organs. So that's important to understand that. We will be coming up in the top of the hour with one of my favorite guests at this time of the year, and Mike Velarde. Now, Mike is not only a Christian, but he's also an IRS agent and an expert on how to avoid the dangers of the IRS. He'll be talking about IRS. He's got a book out on Amazon from several years ago, and he's got a major update coming out this June, which will be in 2 months. And it's dealing with prophecy. We'll talk about that during the show as well, because Mike will be back through the June and the summer to talk about the specific book and what it means in terms of our current events. Coming up tomorrow, of course, we have Tim Alexander in hour number 3, Carrot Bar University in the first hour, and David John Oates will be coming up this Thursday on hour 1. And I've had a chance to talk to him several times because I want to talk about things that he doesn't talk necessarily in his other shows. We're going to talk about political reversals of people like Trump, who I consider has probably not only above average intelligence, probably genius though, but above average, but he's a little Asperger's, which is why he can't tell a lie like George Washington is thought to have Asperger's as well. So if you Google names of presidents that had a touch of Asperger syndrome, which are very high functioning and high IQs, but don't necessarily have restraint in some of the words they say, which is obvious why he kind of upsets some people by making gaffes. It's not just that he's stupid, but that he has a touch of Asperger's where he just says what he thinks, and before necessarily thinking it through.